All right. A couple things I got to get to you.
Yeah.
I got a call last night from a friend of mine who's a national reporter and was asking about the Eagles. And we were talking, and he goes, "Are you worried about that team?" And I'm like, "Why?" And he starts going through, well, your cornerback, the other cornerback spot. He said you're putting a lot of emphasis on year two guys in Quinyon and Cooper DeJean. Brought up the front, thought that they were thin off the edge. And I'm like, listen, I think they're fine. First of all, I think Cooper and Quinyon are the real deal. I think Jihad next to Zach Ball is going to be an incredible thing. I also think Jihad Campbell will help out a pass rush because he'll blitz him from the second level. I don't know, Baldy, what do you think?
Well, I mean, you can always, at this time of the year, pick any roster apart and try to find, weaknesses. I mean, for them to start by saying, worried about the quarterback position, the guy's coming off a Super Bowl MVP, where he took care of the football the last 17 games of the season. I mean, could a quarterback have a bad year, an off year? They can. It's happened. But, I mean, if you just, like, yeah, they lost a couple defensive linemen, but I think like I saw Aziz Ojulari, beat the left tackle for a sack last week. Is Jihad Campbell a finished product? He's just getting started. He's having a hard time finding the ball, but he's got nobody playing in front of him that's going to be playing, on Thursday night, September 4th against the Cowboys. But when he's asked to cover, he's covering. When he blitzes, he gets a sack. I mean, you can pick the one cornerback position looks like Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo, Jacorian, Bennett. I mean, you could throw all these guys out there. I don't know if any of them are going to be Slay or not. But pass rush helps all of that stuff. And eventually you got to play your young players, and so that's where they're at right now. They got to play some young safeties. Makuba, is Sidney Brown the answer? We know Reed is a good player. So, and nothing like I will say this today and I'll say it on September 4th and I'll say it all weekend. September's the new August, cuz like none of these Eagles are playing. Like we don't know what kind of rhythm time. You can scrimmage the Browns for 2 days, great. Like none of it is game conditions. And so, you gotta go play. Could the Giants go beat Washington the first game of the season? They could. Like stuff like that happens. We saw New England beat Cincinnati the first game of the season last year. So whatever it is, the Eagles were terrible the first month of the season, and they figured it out. So that's Nick's job is to find out what's weak, what's strong, what can we do to repair it. I mean, Howie's already been busy. Jacorian Bennett is here on a trade for a guy Booker who barely played. Like they're never going to stop trying to build the roster. So I have a lot of faith in Howie, and I have a lot of faith in Nick to be able to handle situations.
Baldy on the Xfinity hotline. We love it. Zach Taylor plays Burrow last night, and he played more than a series. Which it's the end of the first quarter. He's getting slung around by his goal line.
Yeah,
he's got two backup offensive linemen in front of him. I'm thinking to myself, are you crazy?
Well, he played 2 series. He played the first 2 series against the Eagles. He wanted to play. It was up to him. Like he could have easily just put a baseball cap on and watched the game. And Jake Browning could have taken all the snaps. He wanted to play. I mean, whether it's preseason or not, I would never advise Joe Burrow to back up towards his goal line and try to just do a Peyton Manning and go down. Just go down and protect yourself. I mean, to see him he got slung twice, but the first one, the way he got slung and how he landed on his shoulder, they're lucky that nothing happened and there was no injury to that, especially with his injury history. So, yeah, but that's the chance anybody takes playing players in preseason, and why some coaches advocate for it and some coaches don't even take a chance.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles didn't even play Tanner McKee on Saturday.
No.
They put
No.
QB2 in bubble wrap.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing Dorian Thompson-Robinson out there. I don't know how much he knows. He just got here a little while ago. But yeah, I mean, they didn't play a starting offensive lineman, defensive lineman. They didn't take any chances.
It was interesting. So you saw Jaden Daniels last night and looked great. Like, first drive, he just looks great. I don't see people are saying there's going to be a sophomore slump like C.J. Stroud. I don't see it with him. Listen, they may take a step back from their record because their record was so ridiculous last year, but I think that kid is legit and that kid plays and he plays well.
Well, so I was talking to Antonio Pierce last week at the Jets-Giants scrimmage. Antonio Pierce was on the staff with Herm Edwards, who recruited him to Arizona State. All right, so you can go back. This kid has been legit everywhere he's been. But if you just talk to the Commanders last year, this year, training camp, he's just like, they keep giving him more and more and more. And, he's one of these kids that says, I got it, I got it. And, a lot of kids, you say, do you really have it? I know you say you got it, but he just has it. He's been wearing those virtual glasses. He watches all these fronts. He called his entire offense at the line of scrimmage last year from the shotgun formation. Cliff calls him, gives him, and he's making all the checks. He's just an advanced student. And will they win 14 games this year? I don't know. The roster looks better to me than it did last year. We'll see what happens to Terry McLaurin. They need him because it's certainly not as good if they lose him and Diami Brown. But, he's the real deal. He just is. You see him, how relaxed he is on the sideline, how he does interviews. I've talked to him an hour before kickoff, and you have his full attention. And there's no turn the faucet on, give you the answer you want to hear. I'm talking about a real engaged conversation an hour before kickoff. The guy is just, however he's relaxed, he's a relaxed player.
It's interesting. The three guys, because you mentioned McLaurin, you got Micah, and you got Hendrickson. And those three big names out there, you think any of them move, or do you think they all re-sign? I mean, the Bengals,
I can see Hendrickson. I can see Hendrickson moving. I can see that because Cincinnati, they just paid two receivers and they paid their quarterback. And there doesn't, and the owner, look, Mike Brown, I like Mike Brown. He's not, how they handle the cap and all, those people do things a different way than what the Eagles do or a couple other teams in this league. I think they're going to have a hard time signing. And he's already not budging on whatever they've offered him. So I can't see Micah moving. But I'll just say this. I remember it was either 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I think maybe 2 years ago. San Francisco opened up in Pittsburgh and Nick Bosa was unsigned. And he literally wasn't coming in. He wanted to be paid. He was the defensive player of the year, all this stuff. He signed on Friday, traveled with the team on Saturday, and started on Sunday and had 3 sacks. This whole thing about you got to have a ramp up here. These guys are, all the 3 guys you mentioned, if they play day one, their team is better day one. Micah Parsons, if he comes to Philly on September 4th and he signed whatever the contract situation is taken care of, he'll have the freshest legs on the field. He might be a little bit of a problem.
Everybody's going gaga over Jackson Dart, the national media saying Jackson Dart needs to start.
Well, we all can overreact to these preseason games. Now, he's played very well. And you can argue that he's played better than any quarterback in all of preseason anywhere. You can make that argument. The guy completed 13 passes in a row the other day.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. That's hard to go make 13 layups in a row.
Yeah.
And doing 13 of anything in a row, especially if you're playing football, is hard to do. But success always lies in the infinitesimal details. And his attention to detail is even the play action fake to get the defense to move, to throw the touchdown to Dulcich was, it was really well done. Now you could say, okay, he ran that play at Ole Miss, and I think he did. But still, he did it in the game, in the action. Here's the conundrum for the Giants. You can march Russell Wilson out there, and you won't be wrong. He's experienced. He's been to Super Bowls, the whole thing. The problem you have is, what if the kid is better? And you might lose games. You might lose games to start the season because you don't know if he's truly better. Is he what we're seeing in preseason, or is it just preseason? So, Bo Nix wasn't great in the month of September last year, but he was great down the stretch. They made the right. They could have easily started, you know, a backup in front of them and just said, "We'll ease into it," just like Carson. You know, when they had what's his name from Oklahoma. You know, like
Sam
that was the
Bradford.
right
Yeah.
choice. But it wasn't what they wanted. Bradford just got hurt or he got shipped out, whatever happened.
Yeah, he got
So
hurt.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
that's the dilemma for David. We know what our eyes are looking at, and we're going, and you're seeing how everybody around him reacts. They look energized. Dable's smiling, like all this stuff that we didn't see at all last year, and he's far better than Daniel Jones. That's the dilemma they have. Is they could, if they get great quarterback play, they could go to Washington week one and win that game because their defense is that talented. So that's the dilemma right now for them.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I would start him, and because of what you just said. You know what happened? Who from Minnesota got hurt? Somebody from Minnesota, Teddy Bridgewater, broke his leg, and then they traded for Sam Bradford, and that's how they set up that number one pick. And Carson started.
Yes, you're
That's
right. It
what
was a
went.
chain reaction. It
Yeah.
was a chain reaction because you got that right.
But I would start the kid. I'll be honest with you. I think Russ is cooked anyway. And if you're Dable, because I still think Dable's a good coach. If you're Dable, I would start the kid and look toward an arc up by the end of the year. Because that's where I go to ownership and go, look, by the end of the year, I got the kid playing well. He's our future. Let's go.
Well, you could take that approach. You could also take the approach that, like, say, Andy took with Donovan McNabb, where he didn't start him right away. He started Doug Peterson, and it was probably the right thing to do, making that leap from Syracuse to the Eagles. And, it didn't take long before the Eagles turned everything around. If you asked Andy in hindsight, should you have started Donovan from the beginning? Probably, but it didn't hurt him. It won't hurt. I don't think it'll hurt Jackson Dart if he sits for the first month. I mean, I think there's some benefit to that. But if this kid's ready to go, like Jaden Daniels is ready to go, Bo Nix is ready to go, like some of these kids, like, for example, people are saying, well, where would you start him? Would you start him on the road here? And I'm like, the guy just came out of the SEC. Like, you go to Baton Rouge on a Saturday night, there's nothing in the NFL that's like that. You go between the hedges on Saturday to Georgia. Like, there's nothing in the NFL that comes close to that atmosphere.
No, that's my biggest argument about these kids. I'm like, these kids are coming from sophisticated systems, playing in front of 100,000 people. They're not overwhelmed. Jackson
No.
Dart is not over. He come from his offense was a complex offense from a truly offensive genius.
Well, what you're seeing though is what you see. Now, I'm not want to put them in this category, and I don't want to blow this up, but you're looking at kids that have never played an NFL game. They all look like they can play when the ball is thrown on time and it's put right on a tee to him. I mean, he played t-ball the other night.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
literally, it was like a 6-year-old playing t-ball. The ball was right here, and it wasn't like these kids were making fantastic catches to rescue him. The ball was well placed, and he ran a no huddle offense. That's the other thing. He ran no huddle, up tempo, like he did at Ole Miss, and he's calling everything at the line of scrimmage. Now, they might be saying saying the plays into him, whatever. He's still getting everybody lined up, and kids that have never played before, and he's completing passes to them, and they all look like he can play. Greg Dulcich has been passed up in this business. Now he looks like he could be your second tight end in New York right now.
Yeah. Hey, what you've been all over camps, you've watched every game, you're dissecting tape all day, every day. Give me a couple things that may have changed your mind, that you went in maybe with a preconceived notion that you've seen, and it could be about a team, it could be about a player, that it changed your mind.
Well, if like Seattle, they ran for 268 yards the other day without Kenneth Walker playing. Now Charbonnet started, but they drafted as Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. And I mean, they're not playing with their left tackle right now, but everybody else looks like they're in place. Like, if they can run the ball out of a Clint Kubiak offense, it becomes a symphony for the quarterback. And so we'll see. But I mean, that was a pretty impressive
Who's the kid, the
performance.
running back? Milani?
Yeah, yeah. Halani.
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 He's not.
Yeah,
He's not
Halani came
bad.
in there, busted
Oh,
some runs.
yeah, he was. I
Yeah.
mean, listen,
I
I
mean,
know
it's
it's against twos and
it's what
threes, but
Kubiak did, what
yeah.
his dad did. I mean, it's the run game, it's the wide zone, it's play action off it. I mean, there's a lot of basics that travel in that offense, but I would say that's a team that you have to keep your eye on. I know Mike McDonald could coach. I know he could coach defense. Now he's got Kubiak in there. They took the offense coordinator from University of Washington, and he came down and honestly, like it was a passing offense at Washington. He had Penix, he had three receivers. Like it just didn't travel well last year. So he blew that out, got Kubiak in there. Kubiak, he knows what he's doing. I mean, that could be a really dynamic offense.
Is there a division now that you go, you know what, this division is going to be nasty after what you've seen?
Well, I mean, you look at the first two series of Caleb Williams. Like you put Caleb with good coaching, like a very specific designed offense. And this is what we're doing. Like even the first play of the game is a basic bootleg. All right, everybody runs it. He could have. You got receivers at every level. So normally, what you do on that pattern is you look deep to short. But you already could hear Ben Johnson saying, if Colston Loveland is open in the flat, you throw it to him. All right, this is what you're doing. You're not waiting to throw it 20 yards down the field and pass this 8-yard pass up. And then, he reached,
Take it.
they get this cover two, this Tampa 2 defense in the next play, and he throws a seam route to commit for 30. Like you put his talent with a very specific designed, this is what we do. Like you might see that talent really flourish in Chicago. So to answer your question, like Minnesota, like I don't know what JJ McCarthy is. Nobody knows. But that is a really good team around the quarterback. Like you can't build a better team from the offensive line to the run game to the defense to the ability to take the ball away better than what Minnesota has done. And now if the quarterback can play at any kind of a good level, and he's well coached, that team can be scary. And we know that LaFleur can coach and what they're doing is good. And, Detroit's coming off of, so that division to me is, and Chicago starts the season on Monday night against Minnesota. Their first two games are division games. We're going to see if they can stack up with those teams.
Yeah, I'm curious about Detroit. Like if they, what they're going to look like, losing both coordinators, losing Frank
Losing the
Ragnow.
starting center and right guard.
Yeah.
I mean, those. I mean, the center was probably the best in football, Ragnow,
Ragnow was
and he
great.
stayed healthy last year. So your offense line sometimes is just as good as your center. So I'd pay close attention to that right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm curious about them. And again, I look at the Eagles and I get back to our conversation to the guy, this reporter I was talking to last night. Once again, it was like, well, if there's no AJ, that passing game's in trouble. Well, I'm like, you take away a number one receiver, I mean, that's what it's going to be like. And there's still a lot of whispers around Jalen. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, I think Jalen's one of those athletes that hears everything and then just still has the ability to use all of that as more motivation. Like he's
Yeah.
never going to stop working. He's never going to stop leading. He's never going to stop trying to get better. So he does it in his own style. It's his own style. Everybody's now looking to him. These young quarterbacks are looking to him for advice. He's still leaning on older guys for advice, and so he's doing the things the right way. We gotta see. I mean, look, it was a magical year. If Saquon stays healthy, even without AJ, I think they would lean on the run game pretty heavily. And Devontae can certainly be a number one receiver in a lot of offenses. He elevates. They just made a trade for a receiver. We'll see what Mechie is, but there's Howie. Like he's not going to stop. And maybe Mechie is just an insurance policy if AJ isn't what he needs to be right now. Who know? Like this kid comes out of a major program out of Alabama. Never,
I
was injured
loved
coming in.
Messi in college. He didn't have a chance in Houston. There was a crowded room. A lot of factors went on. I thought that was a good move by Howie.
Well, I told you maybe last week, the week before, cuz I said just count the number of moves that Howie makes.
Yes, you
It
did.
will be no less than 8 moves. So here's Bennett, ran a 4.39 coming out of Maryland. Here's John Mechie coming out of Alabama. Like he's not sitting on his hands going, I've done it my job. You go coach him up, Nick. Like he's never
Right.
going to stop working. It's who he is, and in trying to improve the roster. If they don't think Ojulari or Uche or Jalen Hunt is ready, you watch. Like somebody's coming. Like just count the number of moves. Just keep track because it's not going to stop.
Well, to touch on that, Baldy, Jordan Schultz, he put out a tweet yesterday saying an AFC GM said, don't think the Eagles are done with trades. They have so many picks next year, the team's always going to be aggressive. So other GMs think some more trades are coming.
I mean, whether Jordan Schultz has that, on record or not, I don't know. It's like reporters are reporters, but you can just say that without talking to anybody. It's what they've always done. It's why they accumulate these picks. And if the time is right to go make the trade, they'll make the trade. I mean, you go back all the way. Well, I mean, he's got a pretty good history of doing things throughout the year.
All right. What's your schedule coming up, brother?
I'm just doing all this stuff right now, and I'm heading out to LA for the last week of preseason. So I'll be in the studio out there. We got 4 games on Saturday. It'll be a preseason marathon. We got 4 games to analyze Saturday right into the studio. So be that for the last week, and then come back and start getting ready.
Let's go. Are you? Did you get your schedule yet for regular season?
Yeah, I've got the Eagles game on Thursday night to kick off the season. I'm doing Washington and the Giants. On Sunday, I'm doing the Eagles at Kansas City. I'm doing the Rams at the Eagles. So I'll see the Eagles.
A lot of birds.
I'll see the Birds 3 weeks in a row.
Oh, it's all sweet. Let's go.